Oh, straight to desktop. Hello, and welcome to another one line of code. Hello, Rich9K, you are indeed first. Happy Wednesday to you. Today is Wednesday, the 9th of October. Hope you're having a great month, great week, great day, great minute. All is well. So, hi, welcome in. This should still work for today. If you are new here, the project we have been working on stream is this financial management tracker, which currently says we are using .NET 7. Hold on one second. I just got a message from work. Or not work. Just Microsoft admin. Anyway, yeah, so this says that we are hello streamer, how are you? That we're using .NET 7, but on Monday's stream we went ahead and upgraded the application to .NET 8. Struggled a little bit in the beginning because I didn't realize that we had a global.json file in our project directory, and I was like, oh duh. But probably would have had a more successful time converting all of the possible projects in the app instead of in the solution instead of deleting some of them. Sometimes I worry that our minds are linked. I said it that way. Don't be worried about it. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Yeah. So, early shout out for TBD Gamer. Shout out TBD Gamer. I have updated. Did I even spell that right? Okay. I have updated my stream elements timer message list thingy, so we'll see some automated, not really shout outs, just messages in chat. Hi Napalm, future of the stream. Are you axing it? Yes. We are axing it some questions and giving it some answers. Wait, that's not what you meant. Napalm is a class FMD sort of developer, confirmed. No, everything is great. I think you will, I don't know. I don't think anything about what you're going to get out of future streams, but we are going to continue streaming. Change isn't always bad, Napalm. I'm sorry they hurt you. Who hurt you? 100% pessimist. Too many burns to be optimistic on these hands. Well, I am an optimistic nihilist, if that helps. I don't know if I can still call myself that. I used to be heavily optimistically nihilistic. But yeah, so what we're gonna do, sorry, I was talking about the project for anyone new here, which I doubt there's anyone new here. But just in case, the project that we worked on was the financial management tracker, which I don't know why I have a slash in there. I guess it really is management/tracker, isn't it? And this project was an application intended to show what a full stack solo developer's life would be like if they were making a project for a client. and we went through an entire series of planning the application, deciding what technologies we're going to use, sketching out some database framework stuff, sketching out some UI stuff, even though it wasn't all that much. It wasn't great, but we did take a stab at it. And then finally implementing the designs that we made and just working the way that a full stack developer would, the way that I would work. I did take some shortcuts on stream that I don't think I would normally take, but then there are a bunch that I did take that I would normally take and felt bad about those. Correction, this project was about creating a cash cow application. No, unless you are going to become a cash cow through managing your finances a little bit closer and manually. The functionality of the application was all about manually entering transactions, so receipts for things that you bought, deposits, transfers, all of that stuff. So we finished that, and then we looked at it and we're like, this doesn't look great. It could look better. And so we went through the process of what would it be like if the client said to the developer of the application, thank you for your work. It's really functional. It works exactly the way we wanted, but it could be prettier. It would be nice if, it would be cool if it was actually designed and looked nice. And I was like, dude, I'm a full stack developer with minimal UI skills. I told you that from the beginning. I'm not great at UI design, but I can implement them just fine. And so we role played where the client was like, well, we're going to hire a UI designer then. They're going to redesign the app. You're going to implement it when they're done with it. So we went through this whole entire redesign process for the landing page. We implemented that, and we got this really nice looking landing page. At least it looks nice in my eyes, better than anything I would have come up had I not been role playing a UI designer. Let me see if I can show it a little bit. Except I never remember which one. It's the WASM version, right? Yeah, it's the WASM version. So let's see if we can get a visual of what this thing currently looks like after all of that work that we did. Now, we didn't redesign the data entry pages yet. We just did the landing page, but at least we saw the process of here's a designer doing work in Figma or whatever tool they choose, handing it off to a developer working in that tool, having communication back and forth with the UI designer and all of that. So what's the future, you mean? Projects to work on? Correct. Hello, rollers. And also, hi, Gilgamesh. I didn't actually say hello, but I did meant to say hello, just like that too. Okay, so this is, maybe I should have pulled up what it looked like before. Figma. But today is the wrap-up stream, is what I'm getting at. We're going to do the .NET 8 upgrade using the Upgrade Assistant, see if we're successful with that, see what things it does for us that we did manually. Imported Finding Man, that's the one. Oh, come on, Figma. I should have had this loaded before the stream, but I wasn't planning on doing any design. Okay, so this is what the app ended up looking like when we finished our first pass, for the most part. We had this placeholder landing page that just gave some information, a fake login form that doesn't actually do anything, some buttons that don't actually do anything, and then eventually you could get to the data entry pages, and they pretty much look like this, where you manually hand jam, I believe is the term. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that term. You probably have to be an old person like me. But you take a receipt, and then you enter what is the actual transaction date, who it's to, any extra information you want to go along with that, and then as granular of line item types as you want. You can put each individual item on your receipt. You can put just the subtotal, sales tax, fees, tip, donations, discounts, etc. You can put all that, or you can just only ever do grand total if you're only tracking the grand totals. However you feel like doing it. And so you add that, and if it has already posted, you add a posted date. If not, then you just leave that blank, choose the account you're paying from, and then there should be a button that says submit or whatever, and then it gets added to your history, and then this gets updated. And the number in parentheses for the current balance is how much is pending for that account. The number on the right is your current balance with any pending amounts applied. Yay. Okay, so that works great. So again, this is the before, and then after the redesign of the landing page, it now looks like this, and it is more responsive than it was. How did I end up choosing this as my focused window? Weird. And I hope you're doing well too, rollers. Okay, so we can see the way that the app responds to changing size. When it hits that breakpoint, turns into the hamburger menu. Where did that come from? Do I still have stuff that was saved in here? And where is the... Oh, I probably accidentally pushed this. Wait a minute. Where is... Oh dear. That's something for me to fix later, though. No more you. Okay. I don't know why my picture is on top of my cooldown, my flyout. It really shouldn't be. This is what it's supposed to look like. Where is the flyout currently? Top bar. I thought you had a Z index. Huh, it's not top bar. Interesting. What is up with that? That's very weird. That's gonna bother me a lot now. That's sad. I'm just gonna move this to the back. Wow. It says, I don't care. I don't know what's going on. That's very weird. But anyway, imagine that it did work. Designer will be mad. Don't bring back the designer. No, we're done with the project though. It is at the point that we wanted it to be by this time, and that is responsive. We have the redesign applied. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just being weird right now. I don't know if you saw the image just disappear like that. But the point is, it's responsive. It does what we want it to do. Mobile view works. I like what happens to the footer when you go from full to squished. I really like that design a lot. So anyway, so we finished that, and it's out there. It's on GitHub. You can check out the source code. I will continue working on it on my own because I want to use it in place of the solution that I made for myself before, which is Microsoft Access. But what we were doing to wrap things up is upgrading the app. We already did that on Monday. We went from .NET 7 to .NET 8, created a new Blazor web app, and everything worked. However, someone did ask, have you tried the upgrade assistant? And I haven't. So I'd be interested in trying that. And we're doing that today. The other thing that we're going to do today is to talk about where we're going. We did talk about where we're going on Monday and then made the decision that we were going to try a Java to C# conversion and stream that for a while. But then I got some feedback in Discord that was like, hey, pay attention to this thing. And I'm like, I really should pay attention to that thing. So I looked it up. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah. So what we're going to try is to upgrade this solution, which again, .NET 7. What? .NET 7 to .NET 8 using the upgrade assistant, as well as, and not as well as, and something to keep in mind is that we do have a, I don't know why it got removed. I don't remember removing it, but we do have a global.json file. Thank you. That also has .NET 7, and this was the thing that I missed last time and probably would have had an easier time upgrading if I realized it sooner. So we're going to find out what the tool does for us. Here we go. I've never tried this, like I said, and I'm assuming it's this to launch the tool, this upgrade context menu item. And all I did was right-clicked on the solution, and I'm going to click on Upgrade. Welcome to the Upgrade Assistant. I want a new report. I want to upgrade all of the projects in the solution except for the source gen. So I found out what went on with the source gen last time. I upgraded the NuGet packages, and the latest NuGet package for analyzers says that you can't, essentially you shouldn't be using iSource generator anymore. You should be using iIterative generator. Upgrade to what? Upgrade to .NET 8. And hello, spaghetti. Spaghetti. Oh, so hungry. But yeah, like I said, we did that on Monday, and is the project link somewhere nearby? Cool. Okay, put you back over here. So you'll see this branch here that is Task 55 upgrade to .NET 8, and this is the completed upgrade when we did it manually. I just showed how to do that, or what the process might look like on Monday. I should. You're so right, Captain Commerce, and hello, happy Wednesday to you. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you chat, but I do hope all things are going fantastic for you. But yeah, I do want to change my database store to BXL97. Absolutely. I'll do that on my own. Unfortunately, you guys won't get to see that. Spaghetti said, I was watching Fritz upgrading to .NET 9 on Monday. Cool. Yeah, I'll most likely take this project to .NET 9 too, but all that I'll have to do at that point in time is change the target framework. And then if I wanted to start using the new features that come with it. But yeah, so the source generator, I am not going to include in this because it'll upgrade the NuGet packages, I'm assuming. And then it'll give me an error that this is prohibited. I love how it says it's prohibited. And actually, I'm going to show that real quick, just to prove to myself, what? I really need to turn off the notifications from the admin center, but I do have some services that I use that I need to pay attention to. We were going to go to manage NuGet packages. Does Entity Framework have support for XL97? It supports every single possible engine imaginable. All of them. And if not, you can write your own. I don't know. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Good luck with that. Why didn't you actually update? Imagine how smooth the world would run if we just use Excel 97. Truth. Okay, so here it is. Generator initialization context is banned for use by analyzers. Non-incremental source generators should not be used. Implement I-increment generator instead. And they put this, I'm gonna sound like TBD gamer. They put this in a dot update. They put this in a dot update, man. That sounds like a breaking change to me. Doesn't it sound like a breaking change to you? No, I don't. I didn't mean it as a bad thing. It's just I didn't want to steal your shtick. Unless this message is coming from Code DOM. That's entirely possible. But I'm assuming it's coming from code analysis analyzers. So anyway, that's why I'm not updating to updating that project to, or updating the NuGet packages of that project. It's a .NET Standard 2.0 project because analyzers must be, to my knowledge. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so with that out of the way, we're ignoring that one. We're going back to the upgrade assistant because we're all interested to see what happens when I push next. We want to go to .NET 8, not .NET 9 preview. I mean, we could try, but I prefer not to. Don't care about binary dependencies because I don't have any binary dependencies, and we do care about source code and settings. Analyze. Now, is the upgrade assistant not actually going to do the upgrade for us? I think it's only going to generate a report by the look of things. It's some assistant. Good grief. Man, all of the Microsoft services are experiencing issues. You're funny. It's a report. You have to do the work. But I have used an upgrade assistant tool. It's a command line tool where it gives you prompts and you push buttons that say, do this step. And you do them one step at a time. It's like convert the, and this was going from .NET Framework to .NET Core 3 or something. Change the CS proj file to the XML markup version. And then update package references, move them into NuGet package references, all that stuff. And you just push the button and then it would do it for you and then give you a report of where it failed or succeeded. And then you do the cleanup afterwards. There are lots of suggestions. How do I see the suggestions? You wait until it's done. I should have said ignore the UWP app as well. Oh, I haven't been paying attention. Are our shoutouts working? Yes. Community shoutouts are now running every 8 minutes. And it's on a rotation, so it should get through all of the ones that I have in there. And then I have app and game shoutouts. So like Irish John's Rise of Piracy, Simple Game Devs, Artificial, and Thindle's Nodox extension. Whoa! Potential 5,888. What do you mean potential? Like, how is that a severity? And one mandatory. Okay. So tell me. Aggregate issues. I want to see them in one place, please. The API does not exist for Maui. I do like how this tool is laid out, though. It's pretty intuitive. I'll take that as a compliment, but I'm still here to help you if you need me. Of course you will. I have instructed automated realms to be non-confrontational, even though it has all of these underhanded comments. I guess that's still non-confrontational because they're passag. So by definition, they're not confrontational. I don't know. Potentials. NuGet packages. Database migrations. Oh man, I recently have been getting messages about one of my GitHub projects having a vulnerability from system.text.json. A lot of references to the same. Oh man, it's like every line in the database project. I'd like to filter this. Get me out of the database project. All right, what issues do we have for the UI? We have one issue with NuGet packages. Well, yeah, duh. Upgrade the NuGet packages. We got that. And then change the target framework. Yes, we have that. We know. Is that going to be in all of them? Because that's kind of like the whole point of upgrading to .NET 8, which is to know that you're supposed to change the target framework and upgrade the NuGet packages. Story points. Story points are a unit of measure for expressing an issue's overall size. They help the team estimate how much work, blah, 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 blah. Trivial, complex, redesign, re-architecture, and new. There's a security vulnerability, but we're going to upgrade the NuGet package, so that should get rid of that. Hello, Snubble. Napalm said, "You old one," or yep, old one is a big old security hole. Yeah. Upgrade assistant says upgrade will be required. That's exactly what I'm getting from this. Yeah, we're upgrading to .NET 8. We did it on Monday manually, and we were using the upgrade assistant. And before I thought about it a little longer than 2 minutes, I realized that it's just going to give us a report and not actually do any of the upgrade for us. So I kind of don't really want to see this anymore. Because like a lot of it is just big NuGet packages. API available in NuGet package. And I don't even know what it means API available. Some API that lived in older versions of .NET frameworks were removed or were moved to standalone NuGet packages that could be added to the projects explicitly. So for example, Entity Framework Core.Relational. And why are you telling me .NET 9 when I am trying to upgrade to .NET 8. This is not super helpful for this project, for such a small project. Don't care about the Maui project. Here, you have more than 2. What are our issues? Upgrade NuGet package, change target framework. And then API stuff. Okay. You've been so helpful with this. So very helpful. I don't feel like that was a waste of time. At least, again, for such a small project. Today there were new vulnerabilities discovered. Of course there were. 5,611 story points. At our current velocity, we'll finish in Nan. Gosh. So, I'm interested. Has anyone else used the Upgrade Assistant? And if so, how have you found it? Because I am finding it to be less... Ooh, this one has a lot of issues. Which is API stuff. Which just has to do with specifying a different NuGet package for Entity Framework. Instead of the whole Entity Framework queryable extensions. So have you found it beneficial? Have you used it on larger projects? Maybe all is not lost. I do have a bunch of other applications that need to be upgraded to .NET 8. I've already established somewhat of a process for doing so. And these are the work products, which again, we'll be talking about soon, shortly. Siri. No, I didn't say your name. Don't. Good. I call Siri. I call that thing a dog. I don't want to save this report. I did not find that report helpful. Instead, I'm going to try to go through a clean run of the .NET 8 upgrade that we did on Monday. Now that we have we've restored essentially the main branch, and we're going to run it from there. So the steps that I took were that I deleted global.json because it's going to be using the latest .NET version from here on out. And I don't plan on downloading any more preview versions to this computer. So I'm going to the folder that has my global.json and just deleting it. Removing it from the solution so that we don't have issues. Okay, that was step 1. Step 2 is I am going to retarget all of the projects that are referencing .NET 7 to be .NET 8. .NET 8. Copy. Because, you know, copying needs the editor to do some weird stuff. So I'm simply doing a find and replace via text stuff. I could use, in fact, I'm kind of curious to try this. Oh, I guess angle brackets are fine. Anything that is using .NET 7. Oh, that's not going to work because I have multiple frameworks targeted in the Maui project, don't I? By default. Yeah, so I'll do it individually. It'll be fine. I was going to use regex to do all of the possible matches, but no. Okay, .NET 7 to .NET 8. I think ThinkDull used the upgrade assistant. On which project? Was it recent? And I might have used it for C++ a long time ago. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I used it for .NET Framework to .NET Core before, but it actually did stuff. It actually changed files on my computer. TBD asked, we'll run it on LS when 9 releases. How does that sound? LS. What do you think it will do with 80 projects? What live server? Is LS live server? I don't want to upgrade to a preview version though. I'm upgrading to .NET 8. I don't want a preview version on this computer anymore. If I could stream another computer, then I would. Or if I had like a isolated instance or something. Liquid Sky, oh my gosh. Omenasai. I have not run Upgrade Assistant in a long time. It's never done good for me. Yeah, that one, like... I don't know. I'm curious to know what happens when we run it after doing these updates. Okay, the other one that I want to update is Net 7 to Net 8.0. Is there a Windows 19041 target for this? I don't know. I honestly don't know how to use or find even the Windows framework to target. I'm not really looking for it either, but yeah. Net 8-Windows. Okay, so that should have updated everything from Net 7 to Net 8. Trial and error. So the next thing that I would want to do is upgrade all of the NuGet packages to the latest .NET 8 version. Oh, except for, dang it, the source generator project. Well, that's okay. We'll let it do the update for all of them, and then I'll just undo changes on the source generator so we don't get errors. Oh, and bunit. I think there was an issue with bunit having a dependency on angle sharp that we ran into before. But at least this is still showing part of the process, which is once you do your upgrades to all of the NuGet packages and your target framework changes, then you go through and resolve any issues that are happening from there. How did you not update fully? Weird. Okay, so undo changes here. And then TBD said bunit, the beta version that bunit uses, by the way. Thank you for reminding me. So I get why you don't want to pull it, but you may be limited with bunit if moving forward without taking that dependency. True. Yes. Absolutely yes. Agreed. And I do lurk on their streams when they're working on it. I just don't know what exactly they are working on, because I don't usually have it turned up very high. Let's see. Let's do U, U, UE. So I am still upgrading some of the test framework stuff, just not bunit. I'm going to leave XUnit in case bunit has dependencies on a different version, or I'm just going to go ahead and do that and let bunit complain. Okay, so I'm definitely seeing a lot of issues in Maui. However, it's referencing a lower version. Almost like there's still some reference to .NET 7. I just need to do a clean and build probably. Did everything get updated that I wanted? Nope. What about one at a time? God greeted TBD. TBD. I guess I can talk while doing this part. So, we talked about on Monday another option that I forgot to give on Friday, which was converting an L2J server, private server emulator thing from Java to C Sharp. The private server itself is licensed under the under GNU, sorry, v3, I think, which would allow me to convert the project and share it as long as I'm not monetizing it, etc. But I remembered reading in the past, why aren't you updating? That yeah, maybe I can't talk and do this at the same time. I remember reading in the past that it was okay to have the server code available, and you're allowed to use it for personal private use, just don't monetize it, kind of thing. But then I also read a whole bunch of other people with convincing arguments about the EULA and the Lineage 2 EULA. That's pretty much don't try to reverse engineer our IP, blah, 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 blah. And so it's very fuzzy. Ooh, whether there would be grounds for legal ramifications if I streamed updating the converting the L2J server from Java to C Sharp. So I'd rather play it safe and not do that. So we're going to fall back to the first option that was selected on Friday, which is I will be streaming my day job going forward. The way that I used to stream it, or it's going to be different, but I'm going to go back to essentially doing what I used to do, which is working on my day job on stream so that we can all still have, like, I still really, really value having other developers that I can communicate with as a solo developer. So that's the part of the software development team part that I really like. I don't necessarily like, this is so terrible. I'm going to say it anyway. I don't necessarily like depending on other people when I'm on a team with people whose values differ from mine quite a bit. Whose values and work ethic. So take that as I said it, I guess. I don't know. But point is, we will be do you just work on web apps at work? You'll be able to see it today. I'm going to give a quick overview of what I work on, unless you're leaving soon, and I don't want to force you to like pay attention to the stream or anything. All right. What do you say? Build. I think we're going to need to delete the Maui app again. I don't know. Not yet, though. Not until I figure out why it's saying that we still have net 7 reference somewhere. Because I don't think we do. We're just going to do a clean, actually. Or let it try to build. I'll show you what projects we'll be working on, and the one that I'm currently working on, which is one that we talked about 2 Fridays ago, and I'm just moving really slow on it. So I'm also kind of excited to see if my natural work ethic picks back up, and I am actually going to get this stuff done at the velocity that I used to. There's also not that this really There is a potential for this to be true. You do not have to accept it as being true, but there have also been events that are happening in the world that are affecting humans in general's attention. And it's not like, the whole we're all attached to our phone. We have short attention spans, TikTok, Twitter, X, all that stuff. This is like actual environmental things that are affecting us. And so I've been losing focus quite a bit. And many of you may have experienced having more headaches than usual in the past couple of weeks, even, or higher blood pressure or difficulty paying attention to things. But yeah, I am I am adapting to that, and doing a better job now. Okay, that says build succeeded. None of the projects failed to build. It's been the last couple of years for me. Entirely possible. But I mean an extra amount in the past couple of weeks. The fact I managed to get code written on Stream is a pure miracle most days. Spaghetti said, I've been looking for a job for 6 months and I feel like just a web app is like way too simple nowadays. You have to know AI or data engineering or I don't know what. You don't have to. There are a lot of places that do want to stay ahead of the curve and have a product, because it's possible that the teams that you're trying, or that the businesses that you're trying to work at, are product developers, and they want to have some product that stands apart from everyone else, which means using cutting edge technology and leading the way with using the technology before anyone else gets to capitalize on it so that they can get the biggest cut, whatever. The types of projects that I've worked on and the teams that I've been on, yeah, there are products involved, but like the ones that we'll be working on are specific to this location and to the team of people that use these applications. For my previous job, it was a larger project, but it was one product that was available on the Microsoft Store for anyone to download and use that have that type of computer. Reg says, I find attention is a very expensive master. I hate to pay attention. Understandable. Spaghetti developer said, like I could build an entire app in Blazor, but I feel like it's just kindergarten work at this point. We're $30K a year. Possibly. But that is what I do. I do kindergarten work my entire life and I enjoy it, and I get to live a pretty enjoyable life. I get to enjoy the work that I do as well as the I'm away from work. Let's .NET watch this again just to see if it runs. So this is us doing the upgrade on all of the other projects and not creating a brand new Blazor web app. So we just did an upgrade in place. Yep. Where are we creating a shared components NuGet package? I'm not saying that. Oh, no, I didn't take it as an insult. I am taking it as a thank goodness, because I don't want to grow up. Yes. All right. So the application runs successfully with the .NET 8 upgrade. Hello, Xcoding. Oh, I needed to add you to the rotation of shoutouts. I'll do a manual shout out for you real quick. Xcoding is a developer who uses many languages. He has used C#, C++, at least from the times that I've watched his streams. And I could be completely wrong and he'll correct me. But he has worked on creating his own shell, is interested in creating his own OS, and just doing a lot of really cool work in those fields, areas, topics. In fact, That's what happened. I probably never tested the flyout, scrolled all the way up to the top, and so I never noticed that issue. But anyway, it's shell OS more or less. Yeah. So not just the command line shell, but an actual OS-ish. The shell for the OS. And code editor. Cool. So I am going to forget to write all that down, but I can add at least this bit to my notes so that I can update stream elements. That was a fun conversation earlier. Developers testing. No, not this. No. Oh, work with me. Oh, and it was Rollers that actually recommended we use the assistant. So Rollers, were you able to see the assistant? And if you're paying attention, if you don't have the availability to type or anything like that, don't worry about answering. But yeah, the assistant really just gave me a report. Is there something more to the assistant that would apply those changes for me? Is it a different assistant than the one where you right click and go to upgrade? Which I do want to run again, actually. Now that we have updated to .NET 8 to see what suggestions it has. Okay, I was trying to open Thyrovius so that I can add this to my notes for Xcoding. Oh, come on. I cleared my clipboard when I opened the Jump desktop. Okay. I get a message for you sooner or later. Sooner and later. Wow, that's a lot fewer notes that it's giving us. So I could choose a more specific NuGet package reference for that one. Update a NuGet package here to graphics Win2D and compatibility. I mean, is that even one that I control? I don't think that's one that I would be able to control. This one's mandatory. NuGet package functionality is included with the framework. So I don't need a reference to Microsoft.ui.xaml anymore in the WPF and the UWP project. Which, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about UWP. Same thing with UWP. The proj file needs to be converted to SDK style. Can you actually do it for me, though? Copilot can do it for you. Let's see what that button does. And I do like that you can mark these as completed. So that's nice. Yeah, I mean, those are definitely suggestions I would do. This one specifically. And we wouldn't target .NET 8 for the code generator because code generator doesn't work in .NET. In anything other than .NET Standard 2.0, from what I understand. I could be completely wrong still. But yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'm happy with that. So successful conversion of the project from upgrade of the project from .NET 7 to .NET 8. simply by retargeting and updating NuGet packages. Done. So with that in the books, we're going to close the Finan Man for one last time, unless I keep referring back to it in the future, of course, and try to get some code maybe. And let's talk about the future of the stream. So I did mention while I was waiting for the analyzer to show up and stuff that we're going to be going back to streaming my day job. And that'll start on Monday. We're going to keep the same schedule for now. There are some logistics and housekeeping things that I need to do, and I will continue saying a few repeated things over and over in the first few streams, because there is going to be a bit of a shift to the atmosphere maybe. I'm not going to guarantee that there will be, but I will be more focused on my work product and making it the best possible work product I can, so I won't be as tolerant myself of trolley behavior or things that I consider troll behavior. This is one of those things that I'll repeat a lot. Mostly because I think it'll detract from my attention, and yeah, I would like to still honor my client by doing a great job and giving them quality product. The applications themselves. I guess another note is I didn't mention the potential, or probably just said that I won't be posting my I'll stop being a troll, I promise. See, comments like this are absolutely okay. It's just when it's like, let me try to distract you on purpose and get you to go down this rabbit hole, and just for the sake of it, because I see you're trying to get stuff done and I just want to mess with you. Anything that I see that feels like that's the intention behind it, I'll just ignore. Yeah, so I think I said before that I won't be, but I may not post my VODs to YouTube. I most likely will for the first few streams, unless there is like just this feeling that I'm permanently posting information that would be detrimental to the projects. And I do say projects because dev.azure.com, the projects that I will be working on are listed here for the most part. There's some repositories in my Azure DevOps that are just like a file share, for example, that has some NuGet packages when I was using Team Foundation, or VSTS actually, to share my NuGet packages across the different applications. I essentially dumped them to file share and then reference, pulled the entire server to my computer, and then I had access to file share, and then I had file share as one of my NuGet package sources. The cloud management. The cloud management one is one that I just recently created, and this was for tracking issues related to managing our cloud services, like AWS, for example. Whenever I get a request from one of the customers to be like, we need to look at the storage space that's remaining on our server. So let us know if we need to increase the storage amount. Let us know how much more time we could go without needing an increase, and all that stuff. That became a task inside of my cloud management repository. Or this is just a project, actually. Blazor template is actually going to be obsolete now with the Blazor WebAssembly plus, or not Blazor WebAssembly, the Blazor web app. That is pretty much WebAssembly plus server already. And that's what this was. It was just a template for me to use to easily get started with the RMA apps, I still might update it to use a new Blazor web app and have all of my normal dependencies that I use throughout all of my applications here. Yeah, I don't think we'll need it because we're not adding applications, but that's what that would be for. This was mostly when I was converting the apps from MVC to Blazor and just having an easy way to do this. The Blazor component library is obviously something that I will work on quite a bit. I'll update it as needed as we are adding features and functionality to our existing applications. This is essentially the same component library that is here in GitHub. This one is more out of date than that one. My public repository for the Blazor components is more out of date than my private one. Go figure. The connection manager, this one's fun. This one is the place where all of my database projects are. And these are all of the databases that are used across the applications. And so I use, code first migrations. They were first reverse engineered, so it was database first. Now they're all code first. And if I ever have to make changes to the database, then I do it through a migration. Such as in this migration here for increasing the fixed length fields. These all need to be upgraded to .NET 8 as I upgrade the apps to .NET 8, etc. Every single one of these, and you'll see this with any application that creates a NuGet package, every single one of these has a build pipeline that gets triggered on merge to main, as well as a release pipeline that gets triggered on the build being successful. It releases to test, sends me an email and says it's waiting to be released to the NuGet feed production. And here's the NuGet feed that has all of the NuGet packages that I've created to date for the RMA applications. What other applications do we have that are interesting? DDMS, I haven't needed to touch it very much at all, but DDMS was a VB6 desktop application, which was so much fun. So we went from VB6 to VB.NET using .NET Framework 4.7, 4.6.2. Then, because while we were converting this application from desktop to, from VB6 to VB.NET, we were moving our servers into the cloud, and this application had direct access to the database. I needed a solution for being able to access the data from a desktop app for a cloud resource. So I created an API endpoint for this application to be able to use as the middle ground to get to the database data, server-side stuff, including the place where our file repository lived, which is also in the cloud. So in creating that API, I essentially made a desktop client app with an API backend, which kind of sounds like a Blazor WebAssembly style application, except that it was an actual desktop app. So more like a Maui hybrid application, or just any internet connected desktop app. So that was fun. But then it made sense because while I was doing this, Blazor came out. It made sense for us to go from that web app with the API backend to Blazor. I converted this app to Blazor first, and I made a lot of mistakes, but it's cool. It's a good app. Watch it not work. Oh, look, it's a PWA. Wow. Yeah, this thing needs a lot of love and care and updates. Be nice. So yeah, going from a desktop app that had, that slate gray kind of coloring to this, and me not being a designer, just learning stuff was a chore, and it was fun, and it was hard, and it was frustrating, and it was fun. But that's what I started off streaming. When I began streaming, that's what I was in the middle of doing, was converting this, and now it is set. That's how you know it was worth it. Yeah. So that was DDMS. These were just notes and testing beds and all that stuff for DDMS, getting it from desktop to web. Documentation. This is what I was leaving for any future developer. Close to the end of my employment with them, with the consulting firm that was working on this project, I wanted to make sure that I had all of the processes, all of the accesses, everything that a new developer would need in order to continue working on these projects. And so I spent those last couple of weeks putting together the documentation for all of the applications, for the servers, how AWS is set up, how to update certificates, how to maintain the applications on there, deploy, how Azure DevOps is set up, all that stuff. So I got to reference this on occasion when I came back to this project. I was really happy about that. DT search, I was trying to find another alternative for this application called DT search, which is an indexing service application that's running on the server, where you feed it a text document of some sort or a database, and it will index it so that it's searchable. And DDMS uses this heavily so that whenever they upload new documents from, let's say, an environmental organization, that document is searchable. And they can use the DT search syntax to search the document. This is one of those instances where AI plus RAG might actually, or I guess, yeah, we'll say it that way. AI plus RAG might be a good thing to implement. It's not currently needed, but I can see them. There was like a question while I was working there of this specific building, who owned it in 1973, kind of thing. Because whoever owned that building in 1973 was responsible for whatever type of thing was coming up at that point in time regarding that building. And yeah. So being able to ask a GPT style thing, that question, and then getting references to the actual documents that pertain to the information it's giving back would be perfect use case for that. But instead they had to know the syntax for this wonderful product that we are paying the license for, and it does do what it says it does. It's just, oh my goodness. The website has been updated since the last time I saw this, though, which is cool. Yeah, the smart choice for text retrieval since 1991, and we haven't updated the app since 1991. No, it's great. It's wonderful. It's fine. So anyway, trying to find ways to cut down on the storage cost, for one, because every index is pretty much the same size as the library itself, which is a couple terabytes currently. Every index that we have also takes up that much space. Sometimes you look at technology company websites and wonder, how do you still make money? The product speaks for itself. And that's why I'm trying to find a replacement for this. Actually, what happened in this case was this was a technology that was used before I got here, before I got to the position the first time. And I didn't know much about it. I just needed to convert all of the applications so that they worked exactly the same as they did before. They looked the same. They, yeah. those two things, and pretty much was just trying to make sure that the applications felt the same to the users, which is why this one still looks the way it does, except for the login page. That's the only difference. Yeah, this is what the application looked like in 2008. Still looks the same. It did say US, vegetarian monitor. Yeah. Big Brother is watching you. So yeah, you can see that this application is still used quite a bit. We have random measurements and stuff taken last month even. Oh, my nose. But this is the application that I said has that external device, the Trimble Nomad, that they load data into, take out into the field, take pictures, and log information into the application. And then they can get reports regarding their observations. Like this. Oh, and then they come back and then re-upload those CSVs. And if they open the CSV in Excel and save it, it causes issues. Most of the time they need to edit it in Notepad and edit values in it manually and just a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm hoping to, for this application specifically, to add that same functionality that the Trimble is providing to them, but in a mobile app version. So the application is on your phone. It's a web app, but it's a progressive web app, or it's a MAUI app that targets all platforms. And you get all of the native controls and stuff. And it doesn't matter whether you're connected to the internet or not, as long as you load the data you need before you go out into the field. And then if you lose internet, it will store the value locally on that device until you get internet connection again and it pushes to the server. So hopefully that'll be something we get to do. What else do we have? We have EDTC, which was scrapped. The email service, I just turned our the thing that does all of the emailing for all of our apps into a NuGet package that I can just add to any of our applications. I told you about FileShare. HasTrack is an application where people can report safety observations. I'm going to remember how to say this. So since the Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge is now or has been for a really long time, I forget what it's called. It's something star verified, where they are one of the most safe places to work kind of thing. They're certified as having all of these safety practices because they deal with hazardous chemicals and they deal with animals and wildlife. And so they have training programs. They have just a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of programs for showing that they are exercising safety. One of them is the ability for any employee that works at the arsenal to log into this application and report either a hazardous situation or a good safety practice. So this is intended to be used for all of those, not just hazards. So this really should say observed safety practices or violations of. This is the new one that I'm currently working on, and I'll tell you more about that after we get to other ones. Lysimeter got scrapped, but lysimeters are these little devices that measure water, rainfall, I think. I don't know this for sure. But they were set out in various places throughout the arsenal, and they would send data back, and we would log them and be able to see them in this system. Playground, place to try code. Quests. Quest was fun. So when I was faced with needing to have a junior developer, Jeremiah, who was my junior developer at the time, was leaving, and I'm like, it would be nice if we had something for any new hires that we have to get familiar with the projects and Blazor, especially if they didn't already have experience with Blazor, because that did happen. There would be one repository for them to clone and then go through some of these tutorials and stuff, and then get familiar with the documentation and all that stuff. So quests would be a way to award points for completing these tasks. I don't know what those points really translated to other than you got points. The RFP, which is a request for proposal. Whenever we need to renew the contract, we solicit for contractors to bid for the contract. The chain of custody app will be working in sooner rather than later. I am adding this desktop app, that's still a desktop application, vb.net, into the chain of custody application. RMA Water pretty much shows all of the information for all of the things throughout the arsenal. What is our water flows coming from? I don't know where that comes from. Water management. Oh my gosh. So it shows information from water management. It shows the results from RMA chain of custody and RTrack. All of that stuff. Okay. From 2 Fridays ago's conversation, this file import utility was created, and that is the one that has all of the basics for feed it any kind of Excel or CSV file that has your typical table type things in it, and it will read the file, provide UI for you to be able to map from and to your imported file columns and values to a destination data type. So that's what I'm currently working on. That's what I'll be starting or continuing to work on most likely on Monday on stream. Armit's identity, I am planning on taking the .NET 8 template, the portions of the new .NET 8 web app template, Blazor web app template that pertain to identity, and stuffing them in one NuGet package so that whenever I need to add identity to an application, which is all of them, while I'm upgrading them to .NET 8, that I can just reference this NuGet package and I'll have all of the connections to the right database, to the it does all of the roles correctly, it has all of the right data structures and everything. RTrack, the application that the labs use to send lab results. So we use the chain of custody application to track. We use the chain of custody application to track samples that we take from the arsenal. So they take out this big machine thing, put it out in the field. It has this pipe gets pushed into the ground a certain distance, pulls out a cross section or a cut of soil, and then they put that into a container, seal it, and then put a label on it that says we are tracking this as sample number blah. And they use the chain of custody app to create these forms, which you're gonna love that one. I've showed it off a couple of times already. They take these forms and they mail that with the samples to a lab. The lab does the analyses on them, whatever's written on the form, they do those analyses. They give us lab data files back in the form of TRNs, and those TRNs then get yes, you're gonna have, I hope you have opinions. Those TRNs get moved into the database, our database, and then they have analyses, database checks run on them. And this is the app that has all of those stored procedures nested within stored procedures, calling other stored procedures with access to another database within that stored procedure. And it's a mess. So that one's going to be fun. This one is still, I think, .NET Framework, to be honest. I don't think I ever updated it to .NET Core. And then S-Track is the middle ground between those two. So S-Track is a desktop application still, where whatever was entered onto that form in here is now posted to the lab, so that when the lab enters their information, they have the reference of the sample that they were sent and then how to give us the results back. And that's what S-Track is used for. Then the water management app, I skipped over this because this is part of it. The water management app is the application where we just track what's happening to water flow on the arsenal. Because the whole thing about the Rocky Mountain Arsenal is back in World War I, World War II days, they were manufacturing chemical weapons, and they essentially they wanted to use scare tactics so that no one would have to use any of these chemical weapons that were being manufactured, but we were amassing a lot in the States of chemical weapons, and they ended up not having to use them, but now we have all of these volatile chemical weapons that we need to make not volatile, and so we have all of these really bad chemicals, and we need to dispose of them because we're not going to use them. And the way that you dispose of highly chemical of highly volatile chemicals is to put them in a barrel and bury them underground, right? At least that's what we thought. Then over time, they demilitarized a portion of the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, and they sold it to a commercial oil and pesticide manufacturing company. And that oil and pesticide manufacturing company was like our feelings. If we just push them down deep, we'll be okay. So true. What's their half-life? That's what I want to know. So those are just 2 bits of information. They sold part of the land to a chemical productions company, for like pesticides and for oil and stuff. But here it was specifically for manufacturing pesticides. And that company needed to get rid of their waste as well. So one easy way to do that is just to dump it out the side into water that will eventually flow somewhere else. And the consequence of either of those 2 things, I'm not saying who is more responsible or who caused it, but those 2 things did happen. And the third thing that did happen was there were a lot of environmental issues where animals were being born with 2 heads, people were getting sick upstream, and farms, crops, and stuff were dying. Massive amounts of birds were dying. And so the EPA was like, guys, this is bad. We need to do something about this. So then they became a Superfund site. Not 3, that would be too difficult for Val. That's terrible. Half-Life 3.5 then. So anyway, we have all of these environmental issues. So there's this big cleanup. We became a Superfund site, which just means that there is a lot of money being devoted to getting this mess cleaned up. And so they spent a lot of time, did a lot of work, documented as much as they could to properly dispose of the chemical weapons, to clean up any of the environmental spills and stuff that were happening. And now we have these systems that are helping us monitor what's going on, but the cleanup finished in like 1998 or something, and so they wanted to continue monitoring it. And then by 2008 we have the arsenal turning into public asset, demilitarized completely, and is now, or I don't know if it's demilitarized completely, but is now a wildlife refuge. And so all of this cleanup was able to happen, and the arsenal can now be a wildlife refuge. Still don't recommend, eating any of the fish that you might fish out of their beautiful looking water place. they have this really beautiful picture of this lake somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, really nice looking place. There's a drive that goes all the way around the refuge, and there's this podcast, not really podcast, there's a Spotify audio thing that you could tune into that tells you all about the history and all the stuff that happened as you're driving around, the different types of animals you'll find. There's like 50 plus different species of deer, tons and tons of bison and buffalo, and a million different types of birds, foxes. There was this one time Tim, showing your age. You tune into this radio station. Oh man, look at this. So anyway, there was this one time, because I went in through the north gate, which is the opposite direction that this is facing. I went in through this gate up here, and that's how I got to work. I would drive down here. I got to drive some of the wildlife drive, which is this darker outline, and then I went to work. But I was getting out of the car. It was winter, and it was just one of those, like, I don't know, I'll call it Game of Thrones kind of dream sequence scenes. It was still mostly dark. It was really cold, lots of snow on the ground. I was opening the gate, and there was this wolf or a coyote. I don't know what it was. It was most likely a coyote, probably a wolf. Anyway, it was just walking about, and I was like, I'm gonna open the gate and get in my car as quickly as I can. It was scary, but it was really cool. And then it just, I don't know, I felt magical while it was happening though. What else? That's it. I'm gonna call that my story. I do love going on a drive around the wildlife refuge, and now that I have an electric car, I don't feel so bad doing it. There's 100 million prairie dogs on the arsenal. Ooh, we got to see on our last trip there, and I showed it on stream, but I still love it. Some burrowing owls. These guys are crazy. They're kawaii, but they're crazy. This is a prairie dog mound. And during the summer months, the burrowing owls come in and kick prairie dogs out of their homes. And the prairie dogs, of course, leave graciously so that they can have babies. And yeah, it's insane how yeah, they pretty much just steal prairie dog homes. I don't know if they make their own or anything, but it just seems like the stuff that I heard is that they just take over a prairie dog's home. Don't have much chance here in New Jersey. Oh, I wish I could see more nature stuff, or where I am in New Jersey. The other cool thing about burrowing owls is that they are most active near noon, near the middle of the day in the summer. They aren't nocturnal creatures, which is crazy for an owl. The things you learn, Well, we got to see some. Oh yeah, on my way into work, there was this tree. Can I get back to that map picture? Because I'm a visual person, so I do show pictures. Yeah, there was this tree right around here where an owl lived, or at least it spent a lot of its time there in the early morning. And it always seemed like there were these little birds that hung around there. And the way that my wife and I always picture it is that this owl is like a storyteller, and these little birds love to gather around the big owl so it could tell stories to them. I thought it was a cool story. Oh, another cool fact about the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, other than this is Denver in the background, if you couldn't tell, um, is that they have the National Eagle Repository. And what the Eagle Repository is a place where you send, like, if you in the US, if you run over an eagle or even see one on the side of the road, then you box it up, send it via mail, probably USPS. That because my wife actually had to take care of some of these boxes as part of her duties there when she was doing mail runs. Um, but you get this box, you put the remains of it in there, and then you send it to the Eagle Repository at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. Eagle Repository. And what they did with the eagles is that they would take the feathers and the bones and preserve them and give them out to local tribes for their use. So tribes would request certain parts of the eagle for their rituals and whatever they did, and the Eagle Repository was the one that gave them these the things, so that they wouldn't actually kill the ones that are live and living freely on the arsenal. What else? The Eagle Repository is also a national, oh, what is it called? So there are poachers in the world, which is really sad. But there are poachers that try to import endangered species or illegal paraphernalia from other places, or even do so here on US soil. And so the the repository is not only a place for you to send your eagle remains, but the place where all of the confiscated paraphernalia get stored. And so one of the biggest things that happened there was that they had a whole bunch of elephant tusks, because that was a massive thing. There was a massive market for that. And they wanted to preserve the elephant tusks because they didn't want to, disrespect them. But at the same time, as elephant tusks, they still had monetary value. And they really just wanted to show poachers and other people that did these illegal things that it's not worth it. Whatever you paid to get these is not worth it. So then they ground them all into bone chips, essentially. And that was a really big statement. And so they have a few barrels still of them at the repository. They do give occasional tours of the repository and talk about where these things came from and educate people on it. And yeah, I just thought it was cool. Ooh. I worked here. Except, in modern times. Or maybe it was down here. Hard to tell. I'm trying to get my bearings. I think this is north. But yeah, now you know the history of the RMA. Did you tune into your wireless while working there? Hush. I did. Wait, what? But anyway, good times at the Arsenal. Now you know about the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, the place that we are doing apps for. And again, the portion of the apps that we're doing are the ones that are still monitoring water quality, soil quality, checking to make sure there are no chemicals that are getting out of the arsenal. Part of the effort was to establish these treatment facilities around the outside of the arsenal, because the water is going from southeast to northwest through the arsenal. And so we treat all of the water that goes into the arsenal. Like we measure the chemical makeup of the water coming in, and we measure the chemical makeup of the water while it's between various systems, and then as it's going out, we have a whole bunch of wells, even throughout Commerce City, the city that is north and northwest of the arsenal. So yeah, there you go. That's it. Does someone want to do this Terraform for me? I hate this crap. It opens up getting started. Snabble says, CloudFormation, Terraform, ARM templates. What fun. It sounds like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Just point me in a direction, Napalm. I'm ready. Beautiful downtown Commerce City, says Reg. 9K. Yeah, I live in the outskirts, in the northern outskirts of Commerce City. Wow. Okay, now you have been acquainted with the applications. Let me get you my VPN credentials 1 moment. Yeah, you can share it on stream. I'm sure it'll be fine. Everyone will just, cover their eyes as you give it to TBD. I think my manager is pushing back my one-on-one until I give him some good news. It's been bumped 3 times. Yes, crowdsourced. I actually don't know where to go from here. Like, I kind of want to get onto the application itself. Maybe I can show you what we'll be working on Monday if I don't get a lot more done. And the reason I keep saying Monday is because we have community day streams, and that is a day when I focus on talking with you guys, having conversations surrounding topics related to the stream, and don't really get much done. There are logistical things that I do want to do. I'll probably be doing them during Friday's stream, but like the scrolling marquee, this thing, for example, needs to get changed to say something along the lines of what projects we'll be working on, what the current project is. We are targeting .NET 8. But yeah. That, stream titles. I don't think much of the stream layout is going to change at all. And then again, for the first few streams until I get my bearings, we'll be doing the regular schedule, but I do plan on streaming more of my day in the future. So maybe starting at an hour to an hour and a half earlier and going to half an hour to an hour later than what we normally end. Oh, Friday, I have a day off, so might open up Discord as I work on LS. Local server? I'm kidding. On Liquid Sky, just for a chance to double community day. It's so good, though. You have some amazing conversations on yours. Not to say that you guys don't bring up really good stuff here. It's just when I facilitate them, they tend to go into different places. Is RMA closed on Monday? I don't know. So that's the thing. I am contracted to them directly now. And so holidays and stuff. Yeah, I don't really get holidays. I could choose to not work on a holiday, but I have a certain number of hours that I can work for the current contract, and as long as I don't exceed that, I can work whenever and however I want. I do like to remain available. That is something that I will make clear, is that if I do receive any text or emails or phone calls from work, they get priority regardless of what I'm doing on stream. But that will only be when I am streaming work product. I love coming hanging out here. Community day is one of the highlights of my week, whether I get to join and be opinionated or not. I also learned a thing, even when deflections. I also learned a thing about myself, which I'm always trying to do. When I say I love opinionated developers, I really do mean that, but I also mean it in a way that when the opinions are being expressed as opinions and not being preached as gospel, I guess. Community day is cash money. So it's one thing to have strong opinions and to express them, but another to preach them, is what I'm trying to say. And so I really love that the majority of the time when we have people coming in on community day, opinions get to be thrown left and right. Everyone is under the understanding that anything said here is an opinion. We have this blanket permission to do it in a preachy way, but everyone has the understanding that these are all opinions, and it's so nice. It's so freeing. It's liberating to me. So I hope you all get to feel free in doing that as well. Okay, I will, however, since he talked about it, I will give another shout out to TBD Gamer since we are later in the stream and may have more viewers. But TBD Gamer is a fantastic .NET developer. He's working on, you heard him mention it a couple times, a project called Liquid Sky. It's a project management and planning application, and it's a way for you to be able to structure your projects and plan your projects in a way that is geared towards project managers do the planning part. They may have requirements and stuff that they add to these planning items, and then there are tasks that are derived that developers see and get to work with, and they have this middle ground of requirements that are shared, and it's like developers get to see and do the things that they care about in the development process. Project managers get to dictate work the way that they do, but also not be like, you must implement it this way kind of thing. And so there's this clear separation of who does what, and you get to stay focused as a developer on the work that you're in charge of. So I'm really looking forward to that. I do love the way that I'm not going to say that like the UI is the best and greatest and most amazing thing, because he says that he is not a great UI designer himself, but I think that it's laid out in a very understandable, easy to use way, and the things that he groups together belong together and they make sense to me. So yeah, just wanted to say that in an encouraging way. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, as he's been working on this application, which he does want to make an actual product, and if it doesn't, he's okay with that, but he is trying to make it an actual product. He's understanding more and more what he wants it to be, and I think it would be a great tool. It'll be distinct from other tools like Jira or Azure DevOps, and it would be beneficial to use on teams. It's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. Anyway, Napalm says, my opinions are my own. They are right, but my own. Snubble says, my opinions are objective facts, though. It's a curse. True. Very true. Oh, that was fun. Okay, I do still have it running, so let's take a look at what it currently looks like. This is the concrete vision of what it is that I'm trying to achieve with this file reader thing. Shell, more or less, is still what's in my clipboard. Why isn't my Control C working? My control button isn't working, is what it is. Okay, this is the proof of concept. The underlying part of this is the data file reader NuGet repository that is destination agnostic. The only thing that it does is allows you to provide a file, an Excel file with, I'm not like really concerned about the way things are formatted. I'm assuming that we're going to get files that are formatted where the first row is the header. I do have a check mark that says don't use the first row as a header. Instead, use it as data. You can change that after the import happens even, so it'll be fine. So you specify Excel or CSV, I will add any other delimited file, tab, or I don't know what else. Those are the only two that I really know about. So these delimited files, you import it, and then the underlying library. Oh, you're way over here. So this is a CSV. The underlying library will read it and turn it into a data set. Actually, let's do a more interesting one. Let's do a multi-sheet example. So turn it into a data set, and then any spreadsheets that were in that Excel workbook, any worksheets that were in that workbook, get turned into data tables within that data set. The data set will automatically the library will automatically try to map the source fields to destination fields by matching on scrubbed names. So everything to lowercase, no spaces, no underscores, etc., etc. I'll just squish together. So that when the user opens the UI for crashing, let's just pick one of the ones that I have been using this whole time. No, still loading. I would click on it, but it's currently pointing to my thumbnail folder for the YouTube uploads, and I don't want to change that so that I have to change it the next time I want to do an upload. Why are you frozen? Because it's crashing. It's like crashed. This is what you have to look forward to. Lab sample ID. Yeah, okay, so when I have a multi-sheet workbook that's being specified, it's crashing. And I'm pretty sure I know why. Okay. Come on. Thank you. Okay, so here's a CSV, or I could choose a single worksheet workbook. Oh dear. Okay, so because this worksheet didn't have a name, I guess I could call it the file name if it's only one sheet or a CSV. I could do that. But anyway, this is proof of concept. So, and TVD has opinions about POCs, but it's red. And now I push this button and it gives me the field mapper where Thindle's suggestion was that I have the target data source fields on the left, which I do also like. So I'm probably going to have two views. I'm probably going to do both, where you have the target fields on the left and the read in columns on the right. But right now, the way that I have it is these are the columns that were read in from the CSV or the Excel workbook. And these are the destination models properties. And yes, they are lowercase, undercase, because that's how they look in the database project. And this is going to be a view model and not a database entity model anyway when I actually implement it. But for our purposes here, it works. So you'll select the column you want it to map to, or the property you want it to map to. And I don't know why I have database here when I decided it's not going to be database anymore. It's going to be model. Then it defaults to copy, because in most cases you just want to copy whatever value is over here into, let's say, the field sample number over here. And so it tells you that it'll copy the value of the sources field directly into the output field. However, you also have the opportunity to map it to a second output, map the same input to multiple outputs, and maybe you use a different rule. Like the first part of the lab sample ID is the sample number, for example, or analysis number. I forget. I think it's analysis number. And it's not copy whatever value is in here to the analysis number. Instead, we want to split this up somehow. So it might be that we only want to take the first 3 characters. So what I was working on was trying to figure out how to give the user an easy to use method for clicking on things that say first 3 characters, or characters X through X, and they just fill, or X through Y, and then they just fill in the values. And then behind the scenes, I'm generating the syntax that the application needs in order to read that. And so every single one of these rules here would have their own syntax that are followed and their own criteria that are specified. And when you do that, they also have their own apply values. So as you are specifying these things, I want the sample output to be in a separate column here. That'll be like output 2 or output looks like or something. And then it'll show what it's transformed into. The one that I think is going to be the hardest for me to come up with a good UI for is map values, where maybe if it sees something that starts with 280, it maps to bacon, for example. So that kind of thing. And then especially if I have like an order of rules that says first apply this check. Does it start with LCSD? If so, then output maybe the name of a lab or something. Otherwise, check if it starts with LCS. And it has to be in that order, because if it wasn't, this would get captured by the does it start with LCS? And then the check for LCSD would never get applied. I mean, I have no idea what their transformations are going to look like. The point of this tool is to provide the functionality for them to be able to use it that way. I say I have no idea. I do have some idea. I need to stop saying I have no idea when I have some idea. So for example, and again, this is one of those things that I have shown on stream before, namely 2 Fridays ago. This lab sample ID field that we got from the lab should output to both the lab analysis number and analysis number. And they didn't specify to me, yeah, these 2. They didn't specify to me how these should be broken up, but I do know that we aren't going to put the entire lab sample ID in both fields. First of all, the analysis number has a constraint that it can only be 4 characters. So another scope creep that I would want to consider is maybe I have data annotations on the target data type that says these are constrained. This one's required, so we must have a site ID. We must have a site type. Oh, how many times do I have to tell these people? Yeah, we're almost done with the stream, so I won't answer that yet. That was actually not work. If it was work, then I would end the stream and answer. Or actually, I would just answer and then end the stream after I was done with the call. But anyway, you guys get my drift. This would be a split rule, for example, where characters, oh yeah, this is pretty easy. So this one would be everything but Everything before, oh, wow. Wow. I don't know that that's true. This one needs a lot of transformation. I'm assuming that this one with the D is the control sample. No, this one is the control sample. What? Okay. Oh man. So this might be the control sample, which means that this would be the analysis number. Gosh, how would you apply a transform rule to this? Now, like, I just added this visual output today, and I didn't realize that these lab sample IDs were not all in the same format. So this is one of those things where a transform needs to happen before this transform. Wow. Okay, show me the bigger file, please. Oh. I was like, why can't I drag and drop a new one? And I really want to make these, I have a component for type aheads, but I want to make them type aheads so you don't have to click and walk all the way down. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's more often the case. These are distinct values, so there might be, I don't know, 400 or 500 records in the imported spreadsheet, in the imported workbook. But these are the distinct values. And yeah, it just looks like the majority of the cases are, it's going to be the analyte, maybe, what thing we're testing for, followed by the lab analysis number, followed by a slash, followed by the analysis number. And I don't know what this -A is for. I'm gonna need ETL pipelines for Liquid Sky. I don't think they will be this complicated though. So what I'm thinking is chaining rules together. So the first rule will be split. But then I'll need some kind of branch rule that says if the thing has 2 dashes, I don't know. Or no, it wouldn't even be 2 dashes. I'd need a branch rule that identifies this is the format of one style of input versus the one that starts off with alpha characters and then a space and then this format, or I guess this format, and then a slash, and we need them all to be transformed into the same thing. And then we can do the extract transform and whatever L stands for. So like essentially a second rule. So first split, have this be collapsible. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. There can be multiple rules applied to the same thing in order. The first one will be split the existing value. This output samples would be collapsible. You could have another plus, just like I have over here, where you can add as many columns as you want. But yeah, then you specify the next rule, which is map values, let's say. So if you split this on the first numeric sequence and you get back 280, map that to some lab ID, for example, or map that to some lab or sample ID. Yeah, and then the pattern match could be a regex that says we will always expect 3 numeric values followed by a hyphen followed by 6 numeric values. And that's what we extract. Something like that. Oh, this is going to be fun. So I didn't think that far ahead. Yeah, I guess for the initial minimum viable product, that would look like whenever you select something on the left, you can copy it, you can split it in a specific way once, or you can map the, like here in matrix. Matrix would be a good example of this. Method matrix. Anything that comes in and says water, transform that to say W instead. So C water, output W. C ground, output G. Or S, output soil, whatever it is. Soil, output S. You know what I meant. But yeah, we're going to do that. That's the kind of fun we'll have. Again, all of it will be Blazor. Well, the majority of it will be Blazor. Some of it will be library, functionality code, stuff like that. And yeah, we'll have a fun time of it and stuff. But until then, that's the end of my stream. I need to call back the people that just called me. So I keep telling them that I'm not available until 12:30, but that means call me at 12:25. Okay, I'm going to start the waving process now. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out. I hope we do get to have an amazing new chapter in our streams going forward. I'll still post this video to YouTube under the previous project as the last video in that playlist. Hello, the other person. Welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Definitely make sure to check out TBD Gamer. He streams 7 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday, unless of course he just doesn't feel like streaming on a given day, which is absolutely okay. Hope you never feel obligated to. We are going to find a raid target as I work on this waving process. We also have a Discord full of amazing, cool people. It's a pretty quiet Discord, but if you do have any questions, we have people that are very willing to respond to them and provide feedback, give constructive and helpful answers, as well as trolling answers, but it's still not in a berating way that you would get from other forums or types of places where you might ask what may seem to be a noob question, because we all keep that noob mentality ourselves anyway. We start off with, I don't know anything, but here's what I understand. All right. Andreas Sastev, you are in my rotation of shoutouts now. So if you guys didn't see, Andreas Sastev has been doing some Blazor stuff recently. He's usually found doing various things. I need shout out. Oh, this is hard to do with one hand, and my other hand is getting tired. No way. I am losing my waving game. Peter is also here. Here's a shout out for Andreas Sastev. You'll see him doing various things, almost all of it C#, and he is just a tinker, experimenter, learner. He's working on his, I think you said your senior project right now. Yeah, it's gonna be so good. But he has been seen working on a custom game engine in C#, like he put. I'm going to copy down your words. Ha! Of course. And the next community shout out that Stream Elements just happened to post was the one that I put together for Andreas. You'll have a ducky good time. Oh, versatile. Perfection. But yeah, Andreas said, I'm doing either my custom game engine in C# or working in Blazor to make an app for lore/writing tools. And that's so cool. I love Blazor. I love Blazor a lot. 99% is C# or my Obsidian plugin in TeamSpeak. TS is TeamSpeak. I will refuse anything else. I didn't know that you could program in TeamSpeak. Anyway, I need a raid target. I'm going to choose Settlex. He is marked for mature audiences only, so if you aren't in that demographic, then please leave. Otherwise, stick around for a good time over on his channel. He's Halloween themed. Well, he's currently wearing costumes, as he has usually available most of the time. Tune in for your TeamSpeak server on the wireless. How old am I? Just shouting in the void is what helps. We'll be back again on Friday, as I mentioned, for Community Day. Same time. TBD might have his own Community Day on Friday morning as well. Morning my time, probably afternoon some of your times. Oh, my arm. And then from that point on, we will be streaming work product stuff. Okay. Ciao for now. Enjoy. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you around and stuff.